Hey y'all. My name is Cassie. I am Allie's matron of honor. And just a little background. I met Allie in the 7th grade at Yeager Middle School. Back when she only wore sneakers, Thrashers t-shirts, and zip-up hoodies. And man, haven't we come a long way. Yeah. As we were sitting on the floor of the hotel writing this speech a few hours ago, because I forgot, the bridesmaids and I were discussing all the things that we love about Allie and how happy we are that she has found someone that understands her quirky, very independent, and determined personality. And we're also jealous of how she takes charge of her life with a fierce courage to do whatever she wants, whether that be jet setting off to Amsterdam or Hong Kong for the weekend, or asking for a promotion whenever she feels like it. Hey, I think it takes a special kind of man to support a woman that knows exactly what she wants and goes for it. And from what I've seen, Judson is exactly that man for her. And may they continue to be as happy as they are now, living a life full of adventure, spreadsheets, and love.
My name is Mike, and I am Allie's stepfather, and honored to be that. I remember the very first time I met Allie. She looked at me with a great deal of suspicion and distrust, and I think the first thing she said to me is, "When are you leaving?" But happily, I let Allie take her time to get to know me. I think I may have turned a corner when I got her that autographed photo from Daniel Radcliffe, the Harry Potter actor. And I remember the delight in her eyes, and I began to think then, well, maybe I'm in now, And I also remember, That's okay. I also remember the delight she felt and the smile that she gave me when I asked her first if I could propose to her mother, and asked to make sure that she was okay with us getting married, and asked for her help in picking out the engagement ring and the whole proposal. And even at that young age, Allie was very good at scheming. So she really helped me out a great deal with all of that. But we've been through a lot together over the years, and I also remember the advice I gave her a few years ago about dating and men. I expect she remembers it too. I hope that it served her well. And we've gotten to a point now where I look at a woman who is confident, who is self-assured, who is unafraid of challenging other people when she feels like they need to be challenged, and who is capable and confident in everything she does. And I'm very, very proud of how she has grown up. I have to give a lot of credit to her mother and to her father, because they managed to continue co-parenting Allie after a divorce, and a lot of people aren't able to do that. So a nod to Jenna and a nod to Ronnie, because that doesn't always happen. And she had a lot of people who love her and support her, and I'm just so proud of the young woman that she has become. I haven't gotten to know Judson quite as well. I haven't known him as long. But what I have seen of him has been very impressive. He, when I first met Judson, I didn't know if he was that, what do you call it these days, that swipe right guy? I just wasn't sure, but as I've gotten to know him, I've gotten to know that he's a lot more than just a swipe right guy. And I've gotten to see how he's handled a lot of challenges and a lot of responsibilities and a lot of obligations. He's been through a lot in his life. He doesn't like to talk about it or make a big deal out of it, and I respect that. But he's not a swipe right guy. Judson is a full-grown man. He deals with the responsibilities and the obligations of a man, and I'm so happy for Allie that she has found somebody of the quality of Judson, and I'm so pleased to welcome a new son to our family.
Damn you, Mike. So I printed out what I wanted to say, and to keep from wearing eyeglasses, I printed it in a really large font. So this is how large the font is. I'd first like to welcome everyone. I'm so glad the lighting's good in here. But seriously, I would like to welcome everyone. A lot of new faces I've never met before. Some faces from a long time ago, but thank you all for being here. Here's an attempt at a joke. It certainly wouldn't be the same without you here, although it would be much, much cheaper. Stolen from the internet. So anyone who's been around Allie and me, even for these last 3 minutes, knows that we cry a lot. Tears flow fast and freely. I expect tonight and tomorrow to be no different. As a very young child, on Christmas morning, Jana, you'll remember this, Allie would creep her way to the top of the... This is funny, it's so sad at the same time. She would creep her way to the top of the stairs. And I don't know what this was, but she would start crying, kind of like I'm doing right now, which I guess explains what the hell was going on with her. But she'd look down at this vast, delivery that Santa had left for her, and she would get emotional and creep down, and we never did really get it. But I think Jan and I looked at each other and said, "Man, this is going to be a sensitive one." And in retrospect, I think Jana was probably looking at me saying, "Yeah, well, I wonder where she got that one from." So I think we can all expect, and we're seeing the emotions are going to be a big part of tonight and tomorrow. I've even heard that the wedding cake is in tears. Once again, that was from the internet. So anyway, so for those of you that receive the gift bags and you see all this is going on, attribute it to Allie. She's such a meticulous planner with her mother. Just a crazy level of attention to detail. Not from her father, that's for sure. 10 days ago, Holly, my wife Holly, and I met Allie for dinner, and she handed us these crazy detailed itineraries of what we were expected to do and where we were expected to be today and tomorrow. And that's so. She made it for your wedding. Okay, yeah. All right. That's Allie's thing, and I'm so proud of her for that. The font gets smaller with tears in your eyes. It's crazy how that works. Anyway, so I've been a little panicked about missing something on that agenda, so thank you, Allie, for making my life miserable for the last 10 days. Allie's a wonderful speller, and I know that sounds trivial, but for God's sakes, that's one of the things that I'm crazy picky about, and from a very early age, she could spell way above her grade level. So thank you for that. And my note here says, I've cried many tears you don't know about, admiring how much you rarely, if ever, misspell words. So the bar is high for the future.
I did win the spelling bee.
You did win the spelling. There you go. There you go. Another thing that I'm especially proud about with Allie is the fact that she has embraced travel, as Mike kind of alluded to. She was on a plane as an infant, I think, going back and forth to Washington, D.C., and before she was even a year old. And in 2005, Allie, I think you'll remember, we went to London, and Allie went with us, and that was back when Harry Potter was a thing, and Allie was a little bit into Harry Potter back then. So we had a great time and saw a lot of the city. I suspect Allie may have some nightmares even today. One day getting on the tube, the metro system in London, Allie was scurrying to make the train as she had on a backpack, and Allie got on the train, but the backpack didn't. And so there was, you may remember the details more than me, but there was some way that the doors were pried open and the day was saved, thankfully. But it's at some point I think that's when the travel bug kind of set in, and maybe she became a little more open, a little more hungry to travel, and that she has. So Allie's turning 29 in 2 weeks, and you've been to 30 countries,
13.
Which is. And how many has your father been to? I'm just
Six.
How many?
5, 6. 5 or 6.
A hell of a lot less than you. She lives in a nicer home than I do. There's just something very, very wrong with this legacy. So just reflecting on the travel, Allie, here's a, excuse me. I don't think you remember this. Here's a poem that you wrote.
Oh no, I do remember. Oh no.
You don't remember this. No, you don't. This is called A Walk in the Rainforest. I went to the rainforest. I went to the rainforest. I saw a snake. I heard a leopard. Hang on.
I know the last one.
I felt the wind. I smelled the flowers. I tasted the grapefruit. What's the last line?
I wish I had a boat. Right? Am I right?
I would have bet a lot of my money that she would. There's no way she would remember that line, but sure she did. Here's
It's very embarrassing.
the last line was I wish I had a boat. But the crazy thing about that, when was that written, Allie?
2006? No, 2004.
No, you were in kindergarten when you wrote that.
99?
Yeah,
99.
Right? 99?
That was a long time ago.
yeah. So anyway, I think perhaps some of the early seeds were planted for travel way back when. So Judson, I have 28 and a half years, almost 29 years to reflect on Allie things. For Judson, I've known him just over a year. And Mike said more eloquently than I ever could with my inability to get words out tonight. The great things about Judson. But a story that I'll tell, I think, forever is exciting to me. I've found that when I've told this story in the past, it's not that exciting to other people. But Allie and Judson started dating in June of 2019. I heard about him over the summer, and I knew that it was a thing. And so inevitably, the parental meet happened in September of 2019. And as fate might have it, Judson is a huge wrestling fan.
Well,
Is that-
like that wrestling though?
Is that a common bit of knowledge?
Well, Stone Cold fan though.
I'm not sure exactly what that means, but Stone Cold. Okay, I got that. But a week before our dinner at La Paria on Howell Mill Road in Atlanta, I was sitting in a Great Clips waiting room in Duluth, Georgia, near my office, and I look, and there's another gentleman sitting in there with me, and I look on the check-in board, and it says R. Flair. I was sitting next to Ric Flair, who the internet told me today that he's considered by many the greatest professional wrestler of all time. More bigger than Stone Cold. So anyway, that's kind of a long and boring story, but I like to think that offered me a little bit of street cred with Judson. On that very first day. So, and so like Mike was telling you the story of him asking Allie for permission for Mike to ask Jana to marry him, Judson asked me the same question, and that was, is it okay for Mike to marry Jana? I said, that happened a long time ago, Judson. No, the question was it okay for him to ask my daughter to marry him? I didn't know that was still a thing. Honestly, I really didn't. All you young men, if you guys are in the market, I don't know if you are or not, all you young women, if you're not betrothed already, that's a cool thing to ask of a parent, right? So, so thank you, Judson. God, I'm such a crier. It just pisses me off.
Let it out, man. Let it out.
But in any case, Judson, welcome to the family. So excited to have you and your family become part of ours. There may be some scary things happening on our side of the family. I won't speak for what's going on with you guys, but we got some issues. Yeah. So Stephen, Christy, and Diane, and Lee. Sorry, Lee. Glad you could make it, and glad to have you here. Boy, I think I'm getting way past that 6-minute mark, but we'll wrap it up here soon. So you might have figured that I researched things on the internet in preparation for this speech. My number one search was how to give a speech without crying.
I don't think you succeeded.
Yeah, zero hits. Zero hits. But anyway, we go to the internet for everything these days. I obviously did that, looking for some insight on tonight. what should the father of the bride say, right? A common theme was, speaking to how you give your daughter away. Well, Allie sort of set me straight an hour ago as we were practicing, saying, "Hey, guess what, Dad? You're not giving me away," because that implies some level of ownership or something. Possession, right? That's exactly right. Thank you so much. But the really sad part of her comment there was it took away one of my jokes. That joke was going to be that I am not accepting that giving away thing, that you and I will enter into a joint custody agreement with Allie, but that is now a moot point. But in any case, I would like to reserve the right to take her on a vacation from time to time. Allie's got enough money to pay my way now, so there is some payback that's due. So that's where my writing stopped. So I think Allie has structured her vows with Judson tomorrow to limit crying, right? Is that? Yeah. So that's kind of where I stopped too. So I think all that we have left at this point, is a toast. Allow me to get what's left in my glass. And allow me off camera to give my daughter a kiss.
Oh, you're going to be on camera.
And tell her that I love her in public. And I'm really excited about what's in store for you guys. And just so happy and really looking forward to tomorrow. Oh my God. One thing that I missed with my blurry eyes in the small font is to sort of reflect on Mike's very kind comments of, Janet being a good mother and me being an okay father. But man, what a impact that you and Holly have had on Jana. And I just think she got really lucky. It's not so easy for for parents to split up, and that's never easy on a young child. But she had the benefit of having two really wonderful people come into her life. And I think that Mike added some pedigree to the family. And Jana, that's no insult to you or me, but he's a Georgia Tech engineer, for God's sakes. I graduated with like a 2.01 GPA. And so we had that, that wonderful addition of Mike and his, his insight on the world, and that was wonderful. And then my wife Holly is an enigma, and I say that in the most loving way possible. But I think that Allie, that perhaps she and maybe Mike's influence too opened some doors to you being a little more worldly and open to life outside the box. So I love you, and Mike, I thank you so much for your impact over the years. And Jana, what a wonderful mother you've been to. So so I really hope that there's some good editing. I hope there's some, and let's just close with, if God or the stars align and send a grandbaby my way one day. No, that's not a pressure thing. That's just an if. I don't know how much I'll cry. That could be the most tearful night of human history. So, all right. So let's wrap it up there. Thank you for indulging my bits of emotion there, but they were heartfelt. And Allie, I do love you, and I'm so happy for you guys. So, a toast, please, to my daughter and her husband, Justin.
Cheers.
I met Judson walking up the street from my house from playing basketball. It was him, Hoytes, and of course JJ and a guy named Matt Randall. They stopped. I knew these two. I didn't know Judson at the time. I knew these two because, just small town, we're family anyways. And we were just talking, conversating. I said, hey, where y'all going? We're going to Judson's house. Okay. What are y'all doing over there? Playing basketball. Can I come? No. So I was like, well, fine, then. Okay. And so I saw him keep walking. I was like, screw it, I'm going anyway. So I did. So we get there, and sure enough, they're playing basketball. That was our number one game, basketball. At the time, Judson was actually a better athlete than all of us. That's no joke. That's serious. He actually grew up. He grew up more than any of us did. He had a full face beard. He had hair on his chest. If I'm not mistaken, he had at the age of 12, he probably had a size 12 shoe, Steve? Size 12. Yeah. So this is no joke. He was faster than all of us. At the end of the day, he was just a better athlete. Mr. Mike, you said something about Judson had to grow up early, and he did have to grow up early. Mr. Larry, which is Judson's father, he passed away when Judson was pretty young. Stephen, Diana, and his other sister, Stephanie, they were all much older than him, pretty much old enough to be his parents at the time. So when, Mr. Larry passed away, one thing he did tell me was, take care of my boy. And I will cherish that day until, the day that I pass away. And it was one of those things where I do got to look up, look after him. And it's not just me, it's, these three guys as well. Just as I'm close as him, they are the same. But we do give those calls, hey bro, you okay? What's going on? Talk to me. It's just a basic conversation. And I cherish that moment because I cherish him as a brother. I have two other brothers that I'm really not even close to, but for some reason, I'm close to him. That family took me in, and not even just me, these two guys here as well. When, time was hard for us, we didn't have nowhere to sleep. Or, for myself, to be honest, I got kicked out. Miss Paulette, which is Judson's mom, you always have a place at my place. And she gave me my own bedroom. She actually bought my first vehicle. So that family is very special to me, and blood wouldn't make us any closer. But we're always cutting up, and as you see, and laughing. But when things get serious, we're there for one another. And Judson is the brains of all of us. When things gets a little hectic, Judson's one is like, I don't think we should do that. But we might do it anyway. But he's one of the ones that's the next day say, I told you so. But either way, brother, at the end of the day, it's like I always tell you, I love you. If you need me, you know where to find me. You got my number. And another thing is, I have a little girl. Her name's Addison, and she's 4 years old. And he treats her like a niece, of course, and he treats her like hers. And that's one thing. That's another thing that I really respect about him. And these guys do as well. But that's another thing that I respect about him. He treats her like his own. Also, you know, Allie. Oh, yeah. When I first met Allie, which I heard about Allie, of course, but when I first met Allie, it was a bad timing and bad situation. We all went to a Braves game, and Judson was like, hey, I'm going to go get my date. And we were like, okay. So it was me, my girlfriend, another friend, and his girlfriend. Well, when Allie walks through the door, there was a full-fledged argument between the four of us. I mean, it was just yelling. And Judson goes, hey, this is Allie. Hey, Allie. Didn't realize it. Everybody's a little kind of intoxicated, whatever. The next day, I think about it. I called Judson. I said, hey, man, please tell Allie that that's not the true the true people that we are. He goes, yeah, she really don't care. Don't worry about it. I was like, cool. But other than that, Allie, thank you. Thank you for accepting Judson, loving him as a brother. Seriously, you came into his life and it changed his life for sure. And I appreciate both of you and I love both of you.